Welcome to Marion Matters with Mayor Morrell. I am so glad that you're joining us. I'm your host, Angela Stepp, and we are talking about all things pertaining to the city of Marion. And Mayor, I gotta say, we have a lot to talk about. You have been so busy.
Oh, yeah.
You've been traveling to DC. You've been traveling to local schools. You've been giving some amazing keynote speaking addresses. Do you even find time to sleep?
I do the best I can. I also have 3 young children that like to keep me up as much as possible.
Yes.
So.
Yes. So the answer is no, he doesn't sleep. That's the honest answer, right?
Oh,
well, we just, speaking of losing a little sleep, we just had daylight saving time, right? So the clocks have sprung forward. We're in springtime.
Yes.
And so you posted something online recently that I thought was a really powerful statement. I'm going to read it. It says, as we spring forward today, I'm reminded that progress isn't just about the passage of time. It's about what we do with the light we're given.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, that is so powerful.
Yeah,
it's true.
And I think that, in this season of our life in Marion, Indiana, we have a light shining on us. We all have the responsibility, every one of us, elected officials, citizens, alike, to be able to carry this light forward and tell the positive messages of the city of Marion, the positive things that are going on. And that as we share that light, that I believe will begin to attract more and more things to our city.
So true. And you went on further to say that you see Marion as a city that is now stepping into the light.
Yes. We're here. I mean, from all accounts, I think I had a report with our chief of police that our crime rate is down. We have records investments coming in. We have, record infrastructure stuff getting done. So all around. And then one thing I shared with somebody the other day, that one of my main accomplishments that I set out to do was not measurable by like tangible things like written down, and it was to be able to change the mentality and the spirit of the city to actually believe and have hope again. Yes. And that's where that mantra of Marion deserves nice things. And now we're getting to a point where I feel that mentality is starting to change and actually believe that we deserve those nice things.
Yeah, I know that there was a time that people questioned whether we would see big money invested into our community.
Right.
And now, here in this new season, we have, 6 new buildings just downtown that are going up?
Yeah. And that's been amazing, So I tell that story. When I first set out on this journey, I went to some developers and said, hey, I want you to build in Marion. I have this vision. And one of the guys said to me, why would we build in Marion when a piece of wood costs the same as it does in Marion as it does in Carmel? Mm-hmm. So this doesn't make sense, right? So I took that advice and I kept putting out that vision. And one thing I found out is money follows vision. So if you don't have a vision, you're not going to get that investment. If you're not putting that vision out, people will never have a chance to believe. So I put a vision out, and as you know, I made it clear and plain to everyone. And the people bought in, the investors bought in, the banks bought in, the developers bought in, and now here we are. 2 years later, and we're over, I think, about $200 million of new investment into the city of Marion.
Wow, I think that you definitely have shifted that mindset. I think that's proof right there.
Yeah.
We've got other things happening throughout, not just the downtown area. We've got new businesses that we should highlight coming in throughout the community. We've got your blueprint for progress, right?
Yeah,
That is something that I love how you have been quoted as saying our city is powered by people who aren't afraid to take the first step.
Yes, you got to take the first step and take that risk. And we have people, it's a great experience, right? Because we have people locally that are investing like that, but we also have been able to attract the national chain and things like that too. So it's this duality that's moving us forward perfectly. I think sometimes it can get out of balance with only national chains or only local. We've been very successful in this first 2 years of having both local buy-in and national chain buy-in. It's been a great thing to see.
Should we talk about a few of those highlights?
Yes. So one of a couple of them that I'll highlight are our national chain restaurants like Zaxby's and big gas stations like Wawa. But then also from a national perspective, you have Cafe Valley was reinvested $20 million in 100 new jobs in the city of Marion.
Wow.
Hearts and Kennedy, which is formerly known as Hearts and Kennedy, which is now from Micah. They invested here 50 new jobs, and I think it was about a total of $5 million investment, and some more that are coming in and bringing more jobs and reinvesting and doing explosive. I think we announced at the end of last year, Prismian, which used to be, I think, My grandpa told me it was called Anaconda at one point in time. Back in the day, they made wire, but they did a big investment at the end of the year, 20 new jobs and a few $1 million. So there's so many things that keep coming in from reinvestment. Those are national things. Now you think locally, we have local entrepreneurs. Wiley Metal that did a big reinvestment last year, was locally owned. They're amazing. They have local entrepreneurs investing in downtown and the redevelopment around there. So people are buying in. It's truly it's a miracle from God. I'm just so honored to be at the helm at the moment when it's happening.
I agree with you, and I think another one that we should probably spotlight would be a new ribbon open or grand opening. It's kind of a soft grand opening. It's called Crossroads Fine Woodworking.
Yes,
right.
Uh-huh.
And that it's a maker space, so it encourages people to be
go out
creative
and use
their hands,
yes,
right?
Yeah. So that's what I mean. I had never been to one of those before. That man, going in there and checking it out. You can go in there and like build things and buy stuff you can build at home. It's a very welcoming environment. I would encourage everyone to check it out if they can.
You mentioned Cafe Valley as a huge investment there. You actually identified them as a community pillar, along with like the Community Foundation, and there are other businesses that you are focusing in on. It seems to be now a little bit of a theme that you've got going. Community pillars. Would you share with us what the criteria is for a business?
So what we're looking forward to doing is doing that every Friday to highlight a new business or a new organization in Marion that is truly, doing the things that I believe make our city great, investing in Marion, encouraging people to invest in here, employing people here, giving people jobs, really just giving that community effort, So Cafe Valley was a recent highlight, as well as Community Foundation, but the goal is to do that for every single Friday from now on, highlighting different people. So I would say that criteria to me is someone who is on mission with putting out that Marion deserves nice things. And we have a plethora of people, so it's a lot of Fridays that we'll have to put stuff out. So, yeah.
That's what a wonderful problem to have, right?
Yes.
Having to decide which you're going to feature each Friday. But I love the fact that you're doing a feature of the area businesses and that you're putting that out there through the city's media network, because the city has a very powerful media network, and you do too. You've got your own. Do you want to share with us a little bit about? Let's give a shout out to some of the stuff that you're doing.
Sure. Yeah. So I have my own Mayor Morrell Speaks podcast. I have my own campaign page. I started this when I started running in June of 22, and it's kind of built up, followers over time to be able to get the message out about first me just campaigning, and also everything that I do from a political standpoint. It goes on that area. So I really pride myself in trying to be as open and transparent as possible to let everybody know what's going on in the community. So we try to do that with every medium that was there. So we have email lists, we have podcasts, we have social media, and all of them. We have a TikTok too. I don't have as many followers there, but I have a TikTok. So we just ultimately want to get the message of what's going on out in Marion as many ways as possible.
I think that goes right back to what you were just saying a moment ago, casting the vision. Yeah. If you can't communicate the vision, then people don't know that there's one to follow, and then you're not going to see the investment. So I think that focused effort that you have put into developing a strong media communication network for the city of Marion and yourself personally, I think that is truly helping to pay off with helping to further that vision and bring in the development that you see. And another quote that you have been quoted as saying is taking action, taking the what ifs and turning it into what is. Yes.
A lot of times everywhere, but really in our community, we get focused on what if would have happened. What if this place came? What if this place didn't leave? We get so focused on the past, and then if we're looking into the future, oftentimes we don't see past our nose right in the front. So we're trying to turn things into questions to action words, right? So instead of questioning what if this did happen or what if this didn't happen, now we're shifting to what is going on, what can we change, what's actually happening right now that we can do to make our city a better place.
So true. And there's another thing that the city of Marion has done to really try to help businesses to make Marion a better place. And the Marion Redevelopment Commission just launched a new loan opportunity for businesses. Yes. It's a repayable loan program? Yes. And you have up to $1 million available?
Up to $1 million available, and I think it's up to $200,000 per application.
What's the goal of this
The
program?
idea behind that is what we found is there were a lot of people that were wanting to come into Marion, and specifically in our region, downtown, and a little bit abroad of that, where there's a lot of older buildings, and they wanted to come in and open a business. And you get in there, and those buildings, or some of them are hundreds of years old, and you get in there, and things are falling apart, and it really turns people off and messes up their capital stack budget to be able to pull things off. So what we wanted to do is provide people with the access to close that gap. So you go in here, you buy one of these historic buildings, and you thought it was going to cost you $1 million to fix, and then you tear it and get in there, and all the electricals fall apart. So now you need another $100,000. So that's what this is an avenue to be able to help people invest and continue to keep remodeling our city.
So for folks that are interested in applying, is there a process that they need to go through?
So reach out to our executive director of the Redevelopment Commission named Joe Murphy, and he can be found at jmurphy at the city of Marion.in.gov, and he'll be able to walk you through the process.
Okay, so anybody that's got a business that's
Yes.
downtown or throughout the city of Marion?
It can be anywhere.
Okay.
Anywhere in the city, yeah.
So anywhere in the city, if you have interest in purchasing a property that needs some repair and you need a little extra help to obtain capital to do that, then you could apply for up to $200,000 through the city's loan repayment program, and that would help you get your business up and rolling again, or newly rolling in a new location. So we want to encourage you, contact Joe Murphy, he's the director, and he'll be able to help you out. Just call the city of Marion, the main phone number, and then they can get directed where they need to go, right?
Yep.
Or, the city app, he's probably on there too.
Yeah, it's on the app as well. You want to do that as well.
Yeah, so that's important. So we are going to talk here in just a little bit about a trip that you made to Washington, D.C. So folks, we want to let you know that's coming up. He had an outstanding visit to Washington, D.C., and he got to talk to congressmen, et cetera. So we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But before we do that, as we've been talking about building and the development and everything, I think we need to pause real quick and pay appreciation to a gentleman who just recently retired, Building Commissioner Jerry Faustnight, served 10 years in that role.
And he did an amazing job. As a building commissioner, it's a challenging role because you oversee literally everything that's being built in the city of Marion, from somebody putting a new roof on their personal home to mega projects that we're doing. That's all building commissioner. And Commissioner Faustnight did that for 10 years, but he also served in the Marion Fire Department for I think it's 30 years maybe.
Wow.
So he was with the city of Marion for a long time, and he did a great job. He was hard to replace, but we have a new person in that role now. I believe that's going to do a great job for us.
Good. Now he was instrumental as the building commissioner. One of the things he was very involved in was the citywide cleanup effort.
Yep, he was a part of that. So how our building commissioner does, they oversee the building commissioner things and code enforcement. So code enforcement is a big deal as well, to be able to obviously enforce the code that makes sure our city looks clean. So that's a part of our Clean City Marion 2.0 initiative, was heavily relying upon him in that division of the city.
So for folks that are just joining us for the first time, the Clean City 2.0, that is a series of specified cleanup dates throughout the year. What do we have? Is it 4 or 6
It's
this
6
year?
of them, so there will be one in each city council district. So we have 6 of those. And District 1 is furthest north, and District 6 is furthest south, and everything in between. So that was an instrumental part of Mr. Faustnight, and that department was instrumental in making sure that that is successful. And he also was the originator of the Home Loaner Assistance Program, to where we're able to help people who are 65 and older, and or disabled, and or a veteran, to get up to $5,000 to do any exterior remodeling of their home.
That is such a helpful program, and I know that there have been a number of individuals who have been very blessed by that. So what a powerful opportunity that he had there to open up access to funds to folks who really need it and that have served our community, our veterans, et cetera. So we want to say big congratulations and thank you to Jerry Faustnight for his many years of service. Now, folks, we do need to pause for a very quick break. We want to say a great big thank you to our sponsor, KB Technologies, for helping to make today's program possible.
Today's programming has been underwritten by KB Technologies and Basic Systems USA, offering a combined experience of over 65 years, proudly serving customers locally and globally for a variety of technology and automation needs. Info online at callkb.tech and basicsusa.com.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard led to a lot of firsts for me. It helped pay for me to be the first person in my family to graduate debt-free, buy my first home, and I'm one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me. To learn more, visit nationalguard.com.
Busted! I caught you.
What?
Doing your homework. That's the idea. Good job.
Well, what have we here?
I'm just showing Freddie how to make a bed.
Great job. Now you're helping.
Nobody said raising kids today would be simple. So here's an approach proven to help make your job easier and bring your family closer. It's called catching your kids, doing something good,
Nice job, bud.
and praising them for it more often than correcting them. Hey, it's okay to be annoyed, but a pat on the back goes a long way.
Well, thank you.
Parenting.org from Boys Town is all about supporting parents with proven ideas on raising kids and bringing families closer. For practical ways to help keep your household upbeat, check out parenting.org.
Very professional knot.
Welcome back to Marion Matters with Mayor Morrell. We are so glad that you're joining us. We're talking about all things pertaining to the city of Marion, and also in this episode, DC. Mayor Morrell, you had a chance to travel just a few days back to Washington, DC. You got to speak with Congress. You got to discuss the city of Marion with some very important people and the railroad system.
Yes. So I was invited by a group called Go Rail that specializes in advocacy for the railroads. And the reason why I was invited is because Marion, specifically West Marion, we have a lot of rail spurs that are funneling to businesses. So that was my talking point. So I got out there and we got to go into the Ways and Means Committee and speak to Congressman Rudy Yakum. Ways and Means controls all the financials for the whole United States. And it was a very humbling moment because I began to give my pitch and say, hey, Marion has these rails and they've been pivotal for many businesses throughout the year. And I start highlighting CIE and how they, use the rail spur to be able to get their product out. And he stopped me, which is always can be nerve-wracking, but he stopped me and said, I already know this. He said, I've actually had interaction with them before. And he said, you don't have to continue because Marion is a great benefactor of the rails, and we want to make sure we do everything we can to keep things going and also put you in position to be able to attract more businesses that use rail spurs.
Wow.
So it was a very humbling experience. And
Know that your reputation has already been there.
It's already there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That right when you start to question if Washington, D.C. has a disconnect to the local communities, you have something like that happen and you realize, no, wait, we're not as disconnected as people might think.
Yeah. So it was such a blessing to be able. So that was my first time. I've been to Washington, D.C. I think 4 times now, but that was my first time actually on the Capitol Hill side. And it was a really humbling experience. Beautiful buildings and being able to share the message of Marion, Indiana with multiple people was an amazing thing to do.
Wow. It had to be quite a special trip. And I want to ask you something a little bit more about the railroad and things. I know that there is a bill. I'm going to read my little cheat sheet so I get this right. There is a bill coming up. It's the Surface Transportation Reauthorization Bill that comes up for renewal every 5 years.
Yes, that's what, yes.
And 2026 is the year for that renewal, right?
Yeah.
And so I know that with a little bit of research that I was able to do, that the railroad system they usually do try to travel and have presence in DC because that is, of course, a huge backbone for our economy. But I'm curious, if you can help me understand a little more. When I think of the bill, the Surface Transportation Reauthorization Bill, I think of more focus being put on, highway transportation, like the larger. Are we going to have larger trucks on the road? And maybe more passenger travel. But I'm so surprised to hear that they're looking at freight transportation.
Yeah. So the focus of mainly in Indiana, unless you get up in Northwest Indiana, we don't have any passenger rail. Everything is freight. And we have 2 major ones that come through Marion. I think one is called the Central Indianapolis Railroad, and the other one is a big one, Norfolk. What they had me out there for was specifically focused on how the freight can be moved in and out of cities like ours. So now it was really cool because there is both the truck people, a lobby there and the freight. And so this is not like, for our economy to survive, you need both of those logistical things functioning at the same time. So one can't cancel out the other. But it was just an amazing thing to see, and really, a really humbling experience to see. We live in the crossroads of Indiana. I mean, crossroads in the United States. Everything from trucking to railroad freight, all of that comes through Indiana. So we are a hub for that type of logistical things. It's a really big backbone for our economy. So I was honored and privileged to be able to share about that, and hopefully that in that bill, there's another kind of funding mechanism they shared, which I can't recall what it is, that they're able to be able to continue to make sure that our economy stays strong through supporting logistics that get us there.
I'm so thankful that you were able to go and represent the Midwest, because I think so often the coastal regions get the attention, right? You have a lot of the lobbyists that are from the coastal area, but industry here in the Midwest, it's I think so often folks, they know it exists and we're resilient, right? And we figure a way to make it work. But I think so often it's easy for the industry to get overlooked for other areas of interest, right? And so it's wonderful to know that we have representation, that there is awareness, that you found out, and that there's a promise for continued funding and support.
Yep. So that was, again, that was an amazing experience, and I hope it all works out. Because there's businesses here that really rely on that, and we take products from made in Marion, Indiana, that go across literally the whole entire world. So that's another thing to be proud of that I was able to share there as well.
Folks, I said he was a busy guy. Now I think you see a little bit of evidence here, right? This is why I said he was a busy guy. So representing the city of Marion and the Midwest, that's thank you for doing that. Well, Let's shift over to education, because that's something that I know is near and dear to your heart, and you've been busy in that realm as well. You've done everything from traveling to different schools throughout the community, not just Marion. You've actually traveled to some county schools. You have been a keynote speaker at education conference hosted at Indiana Wesleyan. So let's talk about some of that. Let's talk first about traveling to some of the schools in the area.
So that's something that I, since day one, I actually ran on wanting to do that. So since day one being in office, I wanted to go out and communicate the importance of reading and literacy to our kids in elementary school. So I go in, I meet with youngest kindergarten all the way up to fifth grade. So I really focus most of my time on elementary school, because we want to shape and how important reading is in educational attainment. Because as I am here now as an adult and talking to different companies and potential citizens and potential companies, etc., and the retention and attraction, both sides, there's always three things that come up every time: public safety, quality of life, and educational attainment and workforce development. So those three things are always in a perfect storm, if you will, of what we get into the city. So I obviously, we're investing in public safety, we're investing in quality of life, as you can see from our infrastructure and our parks. Now, from an education standpoint, I want to get out and encourage as many of our next generation that you have to pursue. If you can't get a doctorate, get a master's. You can't get a master's, get a bachelor's. You can't get a bachelor's, get an associate's. You can't get associates, get some type of certification. Because the type of jobs that we're hoping to attract, you have to have some type of advanced information in you. You have to have some type of advanced certification, advanced degree, whatever it is, to be able to get the type of job and the workforce development that we need. Because I tell people this often too: the day of being able to get out of high school or drop out of high school and go work in a factory, that's not how life works anymore. They want you to have some type of additional training, because it's shifted from just manufacturing to advanced manufacturing. And so this advanced manufacturing requires a little bit more education. So I want to push as many people as we can to pursue education and not be afraid of it. It's not a bad thing, but we want to do all we can to do that, to get education to continue to improve our community.
So that is at the basis there, where you are traveling to the schools, you're reading to students at Allen Elementary, you're encouraging students at Oak Hill. You were even featured in an Eastbrook students book report or school report of some sort. And I thought, what perfect person here to feature, right? Because he's a great role model, as evidenced by all of the work that we are discussing right now. And, I think what you were just saying there about investing in our tomorrow's future and getting people involved, and I do want to talk about your keynote experience at Indiana Wesleyan.
Yeah.
But before we do that, I want to shift that focus right back onto the State House trip that the Mayor's Youth Council that you just took recently, a group of students down to the Indiana State House, and you had a wonderful time there. Could you share with us a little bit about that?
So the goal of the creation of the Mayor's Youth Council was to be able to get the older kids. So we started at 7th grade up to senior in high school to get them civically engaged and know how the process works from a local level and a state level. So we get to go once a year to the State House, and they spend the whole entire day learning how laws are made, meeting senators and representatives, and just getting the whole, just getting the drinking with a fire hose, if you will, for a day of how the state government runs. And one of the most beautiful things about that is when we're on the way home or after it's all wrapped up, they'll say, "Oh, well, I didn't know. I mean, now I'm gonna start paying attention. I want to get involved, or I want to, see how I can help locally, or all the things." So ultimately, the main goal of that is to encourage our next generation to get involved civically at every level.
So you gave them application for all of the information they're learning.
Yes. Yep.
That's when you know that learning, that knowledge has taken root, that the light bulb has come on, if you will, and that they have a passion and a newfound excitement. And that's when lives are changed, and that's when futures are really made, right? And let's switch now over to what I've mentioned a couple of times. You were the keynote speaker at Indiana Wesleyan University's Education Conference. Yeah. And congratulations for that. That's a huge honor, by the way.
Thank you, yes.
And in that, I would like to quote something that you put in your speech. We cannot encourage our young people to prepare for a world that no longer exists.
Yes.
And wow, so that's profound.
That conference was specifically speaking to educators. So it was trying to, and my speech was crafted around how the marriage, if you will, between education and the success of cities. The cities that we see that are successful have a high educational attainment. So I was encouraging the future educators, because I think some of them were just finishing up their whatever, the student teaching portion of it, encouraging them that, you are a vital part of our economy. So without you investing into the kids to give them education and teaching them, we're going to struggle everywhere else in the city. So I was encouraging them on that. But with that quote about how we cannot prepare for something that's no longer there, we have to continue to prepare our youth and give them the new tools to go out and be productive in society. So we can't be encouraging them, hey, it's okay if you don't get any advanced degree or any advanced certificate, because when they graduate, there's going to be nothing for them there. There's going to be no job. And then when it happens, when people get desperate and no job, and they resort to crime, and it's kind of the snowball, right? So we want to make sure that we are preparing our next generation of kids to be ready for a market and a workforce that they can end up being productive citizens.
I think that there's a lot of concern with our youth about the way that the world and technology and AI, it's advancing so quickly and so rapidly, and that there are a number of professions that folks are kind of identifying right now as they could go by the wayside in a more near future than what we think, right? Yes. And I'm curious if you have any thoughts on that, how people can deal with that.
I did see that study come out, and they were talking about some of the jobs, a lot of white-collar jobs, a lot of clerk type of jobs they were saying could go by the wayside. And one thing that I did see that AI hasn't figured out yet was how to do any of the trades. Like I haven't seen an AI plumbing system or AI carpenter or carpet layers or any of those things. And then even to get into those, you still have to have some type of advanced study. So the idea of us being able to ignore education or the pursuing of education with AI, without AI, with trade or not with trade, whatever market you want to get into, you're going to have to spend extra time pursuing education in that specific field.
I think that you put it so succinctly and so clearly, and I think that that's something that we've got to put more time and energy into raising awareness of, because it's very easy for folks who have already, they're out of school, they've got a life, they have a career, and they just keep continuing on in what's familiar, and they may not be aware that their children, their grandchildren, are going to be entering into an entirely different workforce
100%,
than what
yes.
they're in currently or what they were in.
Yeah.
And so thank you for raising awareness.
Yeah. And it's a thing that we can't be afraid of.
Right.
We have to be able to look at it and take it head on and prepare where the world is going. Oftentimes in Marion and Grant County, we're the last two. We become reactive instead of proactive.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're trying to do in this administration is be a proactive leader. So where we're not playing second and third or fourth or 10th fiddle, we actually can be a leader in something and prepare our citizens and our students and everyone for what the next wave of the world looks like.
So true, so true. And Indiana Wesleyan does a great job of that.
Yep.
Marion Community Schools does a great job of that. And and Indiana Wesleyan is a wonderful community. Yeah. I don't know if you've made them a community pillar, but they just invested back into our community. They just had a new welcome center that they just did a ribbon cutting on.
Yeah.
So new development on campus. So they're reinvesting into our community again.
Yep.
So there's so many things that we have to be thankful for.
Yeah.
And as we're wrapping up, because we're really out of time here, I have a little bit of a challenge, for folks to stop and to take a moment to think about things that matter to them.
Yeah.
What are some of those things that you get so busy that you don't give enough time and attention to? Think about the things that really matter to you in your life. And maybe today, a challenge for you would be to say no to something that really doesn't matter and say yes to something that does matter. And we want to thank you for joining us here on Marion Matters, because Marion does matter. And thank you, Mayor Morrell, for your time and all of the wonderful work that you're doing for the city of Marion.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Stay tuned for some more quality family programming that you can trust right here on WSOT TV.